Come on. All righty. Okay, I think we're ready.
Okay, and when we go live, do you want to just say hello and intro me, and then I'll take it over? And yeah, if there's any questions or if you have like anytime you want to interrupt me, please do.
I'll try not to.
Forever, so that helps. Okay, then I will go ahead and start the broadcast.
Hey, everybody. Welcome. I am so excited to have Melissa from Tailwind here today. She has agreed to partner up with us and teach us a little bit about their software. I've been using it now for a little bit of time, and it's really, really cool. Like, you hear about all these things, and we're all always trying to think about and talk about how we can save time, how we can streamline, how we aren't going to just be like totally enslaved by our businesses, you know, not just sitting there on our phone posting to social media sites all day long. Well, she's really going to take over and tell us all about how Tailwind is like the perfect solution, because here's the thing, you guys. A couple weeks ago, I shared Amie's training on Pinterest and how it's kind of like a hidden gem in, you know, creating residual income and recurring income. Well, the cool thing is Tailwind actually will schedule our posts not only to Instagram with the hashtags, but also to Pinterest. So without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Melissa. Welcome, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
Yes. Well, probably not quite as thrilled as we are.
I love doing things like this. So yeah, as I'm going through, I don't want to just be talking at you guys. So if you have questions, please interrupt me. I'm happy to answer them as I go. And if there's any after the fact, I will share my email at the end. So you guys are welcome to bother me with any questions you may have.
Perfect. And I will open the chat bar. So anybody, I see there's a few people popped on already. So anybody who pops on, if you have any questions, pop them into the chat, and I will make sure that they get, you know, those questions get addressed and answered.
Perfect. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen here. Okay. So are you seeing the dashboard? Lots of green bubbles.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Awesome. So this is where I like to start in the dashboard, because it's really the core of what our product runs off of. And this is our weekly pinning schedule. So here is where you can set up how many times per day you're going to be pinning, how many these are smart loops. We'll get to that in a minute. That's why they look a little bit different. And as you get more comfortable, I would definitely recommend when you hover over these lightly dotted circles here, these are the suggested time slots. So if you're just getting started with Tailwind and Pinterest, maybe start with between 5 to 10 pins per day. And as you get more comfortable, keep on adding. So that's an easy way to quickly add time slots that we look at your activity and say, these are good times for you to be pinning.
Okay.
Very similar for Instagram. Maybe not as many. It looks very similar, but I would say maybe not as many times per day, because coming up with Instagram content can take a lot longer than Pinterest content. Okay, and so before we get started on how to add content to these beautiful time slots here, for you guys, board lists. These are amazing and great to get set up before you start doing much of anything, because it's going to save you a lot of time.
Okay.
We want to save time. So these are a way to take your related boards. So for me, I have my Christmas boards, I have my food boards, and instead of having to type in each one individually, you can just click on these board lists in the drop-down menu, and you can add them to your pin automatically. This is going to save a lot of time, especially once we get to Smart Loop, or when you're, maybe have a new blog post and you want it to go out in regular intervals. It's just going to save you a lot of time in the future. So group those related boards together in the beginning, and you'll be a lot happier in the future.
So these are technically like these little those are kind of like your pin, not your pins, like your hashtags, but for Pinterest, right? Like your topics, your keywords.
Yeah, so let's see. I have Pinterest open somewhere on here. Okay, so if I come over to my profile, these are my boards. So they're groups of topics on things that I'm interested in. So I just started the keto diet, so I have my recipes here. The food that my boyfriend will eat over here. DIY project. So yeah, it's different ideas that you would be interested in and how you can pin on there.
Okay.
So within the dashboard itself, within the schedule, you have the different time slots. These are the little green bubbles that actually have content in them now. And when you hover over them, you can see where they're going, what the descriptions are. You can drag and drop. You can shuffle the queue so you can make sure it's all mixed up and going out randomly. And you can create new content by uploading here. So if you publish a blog post or if you have some photos that you'd like to add, you can do that directly from here. And it's a great way to A/B test different things.
Yeah.
And let's see. So now I am actually going to switch over to my Instagram profile. And we're going to start adding some content to the calendar. So here on Instagram, I got nothing in here. I'm only posting one time per day. That's about as much as I can keep up with, and don't have as many amazing posts as some other folks may have. But when you're on your blog, so this is the Tailwind blog, well, they don't want me to leave, you can use our browser extension. So we have this for Chrome, Safari, and Firefox. So as you're browsing around the internet, you can use this to select different items. So if you have the Pinterest pin a button, it's similar to that. And you can also use this for Instagram. I personally, am not going to schedule anything from here. I'm going to jump on over to Instagram because this is where I love to use the browser extension on Instagram itself. What's really, really cool about this, we know that user-generated content's really awesome for getting ideas and filling up your feed. You can do it really easily from your computer with our browser extension. So if I wanted to share this one, click on schedule here. And it loads in the original caption, and it even adds regram via Tailwind app. So when you're regramming, it's important to give credit where that original post came from. So we automatically do that for you, and it loads in all of these hashtags here. So that's just a really quick and easy way to load in content to your Instagram account and have it be published. So I will save this for later. And you might have seen this hashtags that were down at the bottom, and that's probably my favorite part about our Instagram tool. So I'm going to come up here, like I showed in Pinterest. It looks very similar. Load images, and I am going to select these two Instagram images. All right, and now that these are loaded, let me get this one out of the way. Now that these are loaded, you can see that one's a little bit longer. This is my story post, and this one is my post that's going to go directly to the feed. So for this story post, if I click here, it wants me to crop it. We have auto posts on Instagram, so that means that you can be away from your phone, not have to worry about your content going out at the best times. We do that for you. As an Instagram partner, that's one of the amazing things that we are able to do. So the problem with that is that there are certain aspect ratios that you have to use to automatically publish through their API. That's where our auto cropping tool comes in. If your pin, or I'm going to be saying pin for post all night. So if your Instagram post is too large, excuse me, you'll be able to crop it here. So we have the landscape, you can click on square, portrait style, whichever way you would like to do it. But this is going to be my story, and you can schedule stories through Tailwind too. So here we have, it says I'm going to auto post. And again, since I am using Tailwind, and you also have to have a business account. I don't think I mentioned that before. With a business account, you can auto post, but this is going to be my story. So I'm going to use the iOS notification. That just means that instead of it automatically publishing, I will get a notification on my phone when it's time to post. And when you open it up in Instagram, it'll give you the option to say, I would like to post this as a story or in the feed. So you just post it as a story. And if you want to tag anyone, you can add their tag in there or use any hashtags. Or if you have links on Instagram in your stories, if you're verified, if you have more than 10,000 followers, and you can share your links in there. That's a really great tool that we use for Tailwind. We have lots of followers, so we're able to share those links, and it's really easy because it copies automatically and you just paste it right in.
So how do we determine, like, okay, so say, because these are very similar pictures, how do we know if it's going to a story, or how do we select to send it to a story then versus to our I don't know, the grid thing, the news feed? That's not the appropriate term, you guys.
Yeah, I see. I get you. Okay, so within here, because I have it switched to iOS notification, that's how we know that it is a story.
Okay.
In the grid, it's a little bit harder to tell, but if you hover over, I haven't added any information to it yet, but once I do, you'll be able to tell by hovering whether it's, has the information, the hashtags, all of that stuff, and see which one is a feed post and which one is a story post.
Okay.
So here, let's see, I will just say follow Tailwind app for more. And let's see, when's this one going out? 11:09. So I'm going to schedule this one to go out before. So tomorrow at 11:05 a.m. And so that just gives me a reminder before the feed posts will be published automatically. And that's getting the story out there before the feed posts. So I will go ahead and schedule that. And there's a couple Q&As. Do we have any questions in there?
Let me grab over here. Hold on. I had the chat open. Okay. So we have Liz, and she says, I don't have a website right now. I only have Instagram and Facebook. What do you suggest as far as creating boards and pins to connect my followers to my social media?
Oh, interesting. Yeah. So you may see down here we have this Amplify with Pinterest. And that allows you to cross-post from Pinterest to Instagram. And you can now also claim an Instagram account on Pinterest. So you can have your Instagram account be your main website on Pinterest, which is awesome for people that are really focused on Instagram but want to grow their Pinterest following.
That's cool.
Yeah, that just recently came out, and it was fun to work with them on that. As for coming up with the boards, I would just make a list of the different topics that you're interested in, and create boards around those topics. So for Tailwind, we of course have Pinterest marketing, Instagram marketing, social media marketing. We live in Oklahoma City, so Oklahoma City ideas. We love food, so we have a recipes board. Just different things, different topics that explain who you are, and you can add content to that. And I'll show you here in a little bit how to do that, how to find amazing content and find relevant content for your audience. And before you start really getting into Pinterest, you'll be able to build up a following and build up reliability on the platform just by sharing great content from other people.
Okay, great. And then we may have already answered this for you, Liz, but she says, how do you schedule the stories?
Yeah. So I have my story scheduled here. I did not bring a phone cord, or else I would show you guys what that looks like. But when it opens up in Instagram, you'll get if you have an iOS device, you will get a push notification. When you open it up, it'll say published to Instagram. Go over, The image is there. You just have to publish it to your story, and you can copy anything that you wanted that was in the caption over to Instagram and have it all there. So it's just a super simple way to do that.
Perfect. Okay. Very good. All right. She says, yes, we answered that for her.
Perfect.
All right. Anybody else have any questions? Just pop them here into the Q&A and we will get to them.
All right. Yeah, please do. Okay. So here's my feed post. This is the one that's going to be in my main 9 grid that will live there forever, unlike the story, which will go away in 24 hours. That's why it says auto post right here. Another really cool feature that we just added is this add a location. So if I wanted to tag, let's see if Tailwind is in here. Yep, if I wanted to tag Tailwind, I can. And then I can start typing in my caption. So learn how to make money on Pinterest. You might have noticed down here, those hashtags were changing as I was typing. This is our hashtag finder tool, and it's pretty incredible, if I do say so myself.
Yeah.
It's so cool. I'm pretty sure our developers are just wizards. They're so smart, and I just love this tool so much. So this is an amazing way to find relevant hashtags, and you can, so now that I have this caption, I will start adding some of these hashtags. So this one, Startup Life, I'm hovering over. It has 3.4 million posts. I'll add that. This one has 10 million posts. That's why it is this orange color. So we color code them to tell you how popular they are on Instagram. So one that's orange is going to have a lot of people adding content to it all the time. So entrepreneurship, there's 10 million posts. You may have a harder time getting into the top of the feed, but if you do, you're going to have a much larger reach. These light green ones are a little bit smaller, but they're still good. They still have traffic. And we haven't seen a best one yet, so I'll just keep adding. It's a good idea to use a combination of all of these.
Okay, there we go.
Yep, here's a great one. So it's telling me that there's 700,000 posts. That's the sweet spot. That's where I want to be. That's where I'm going to end up in the feed, but not be overrun. So that's what that means. But it's perfectly fine to use some of the bigger ones, some of the smaller ones. Just use a mixture of all of them. And if there are some that don't make sense for you, then you can just X out and we'll give you new ideas, or you can just see more suggestions by doing that. And it's super fast to just click, 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 click. Of course, right now I'm not paying attention to what they are.
Right.
Probably not the best idea, but just showing how fast this can go. And I'm at 30. Let's see, we have our little counter here. If I go over, turns red. Tells me that's way too many. What are you doing? So then I can delete that last one. And if I decide that this is one incredible list and I have to keep it and use it forever, I can do that. All I need to do is just copy it here, and then we have our hashtag lists.
Oh.
So these are other lists that I have created and that I wanted to save. So all I need to do to add this one, create list. This is my Pinterest social, and copy in, and then save it. And so now I have my Pinterest social one.
That's amazing. So what I've been doing traditionally is saving all of my hashtags in like Notes or Evernote or whatever, grabbing, copy, paste, and it's like all that back and forth. I mean, It's way faster than typing them all in and trying to remember them all still. But then it's like sometimes Instagram is like, yeah, right, lady, you're not copying and pasting all these. Like, get out of here with that. And then it like ghosts my whole post. So this is so much faster.
It's pretty amazing, yeah. And once you have them all in there, you can have different ones, kind of like the Pinterest board idea that I was talking about. Once you have the different themes that your business is about, you can save those, and each time you post something on Instagram about that particular piece of content, poof, it's there. It's awesome. And you can also find both the hashtag finder tool and the the hashtag lists on the iOS app. So if you have an iPhone device, you don't have to be tied to your computer and vice versa. So that's kind of the nice thing there too.
Nice. No, I really like that. I love that it gives you suggestions, because sometimes you're like, what actually should I post? And you don't know how good or bad of a following that particular hashtag actually has. So that's great if you are like hashtag inadequate like I am sometimes.
Oh, it's hard. It's a great way to get discovered, but it's so hard to know which ones to use. And so that's really where we try to come in and make things easier.
And then you can also, where it says the amplify with Pinterest, you could essentially share that to both places automatically then.
Yes. So now it's showing my Pinterest account here. I can set a default board. So if I had just one board that was all my Instagram content, I could add it there. This is really cool for people who do have a blog, and I've seen a lot of fashion bloggers use this really well. So then you have your amazing Instagram post that's automatically added to Pinterest. And then on Pinterest, you can have links. So you can have links to your blog posts or to the shop style or whatever you're using to sell, that sort of thing. And that's just a great way to connect the two, still get links, and still be able to sell directly from your Instagram account.
Yeah. No, I like that. I really like that. So I have another question, and it's probably, you probably get this all the time. So, and I know it's like 50%, 50%. Some people say you should have your hashtags in your, your content, that portion of the post. Whereas other people are like, no, never put your hashtags in there. Put them as the very first the very first post.
Right.
What are your guys' thoughts on that as far as effectiveness and keeping things moving through the algorithm? And
so it's a lot of personal preference, but it also, I would just say keep it in your post description. Another thing you can do, I'll send this one back to drafts and show you. I know it looks a little messy to have all of those hashtags in there. So another thing you can do with the hashtag lists is you can create a formatting one.
oh,
So then, dropped it at the wrong place. So let's move this up. So then you can add in your formatting, have the dots to drop it down a few lines, and all of your hashtags are saved there. The issue that I've seen with people posting the hashtags after the fact is they may forget. They may forget to add it to the comment.
Right.
And then by the time they add it, Instagram is not looking at when that comment went through. It's looking at when the post connected to those hashtags went in. So if you posted 2 days ago, those hashtags will show in 2 days down the list. So it's better to do it. If you are going to use the comments, do it right away. It's also very hard to do that and auto post, so it's a lot more work. But if it's your personal preference and you think it looks a lot better, there's not really any difference between posting it live and posting it as a comment, as long as you do it quickly after the post is published.
Perfect. Okay, that I just wanted to make sure. Okay, Liz has another question. For anybody else who's on, feel free to ask away in the Q&A thread. I'm having an issue with auto post because I don't have a page, only a profile on Facebook. It actually made me create a page today, and then it worked, but I don't want a page suggestions. So like you could have a page, and you could probably shed some light too. You can have a page and just never post to it, and it won't make any difference. It'll almost just be like not having one, because you won't necessarily have any followers. You won't have any content. It'll just kind of be sitting there, kind of just like a dead page almost, right? Like,
exactly.
So now that you have one, it's up to you to choose how you work with it. I think it's a good idea to have one, because you never know if you're going to get busted doing business on your personal page. They keep saying they're going to crack down on that more. So it might be a good idea to keep it and maybe even start to build it up a little bit.
My page is connected to a very much defunct My Instagram is connected to a very much defunct Facebook page that's just for testing purposes, and you can't see it anywhere on here. So it's not, if you have it connected to a Facebook page, that's not going to hurt you at all, because on Instagram you can't see what page it's connected to. So it's not a big deal.
Okay. So Liz, I think you've done the right thing, and you just don't really have to do much with the Facebook side of things until you choose to do so.
Right. Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. So, and another thing, I'm going to actually switch back to Pinterest.
Okay.
And I'll come schedule a post here. So, how to hide Instagram hashtags. And if you do have a Facebook post that you're trying to build up, we have an easy way to allow you to both share to Pinterest and to your Facebook page. So for this one,
all the places.
All the places, yeah. You can be active almost anywhere with this. So I will put this on my weekly group boards here. You can use interval and set it 1 day apart. You can see that these are going out 1 day apart, so I'm not overloading my feed. And then if I wanted to share it to Facebook, I can click here. Oh, it may want me to re-authenticate here. Yeah, okay. So there's my defunct page that I'm posting to. And now I can share it to the page. I can add a different caption if I would like. And the Facebook page will look at the metadata, and if you have a Facebook optimized image on that page, it will share that instead of the pin image. So you're still able to follow the rules of Facebook, follow the rules of Instagram, follow the rules of Pinterest, and still be active, which is amazing. So that's just a quick way to do it. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, now I can't remember what I was going to say. Never mind.
Okay. So yeah, you can schedule from your blog. You can also schedule from Pinterest. I know if you're first starting out, it can be intimidating to try to come up with Pinterest content. So as you're scrolling through Pinterest, you can hover over. We have a little Pinterest button that pops up, and you can just save it directly from Pinterest, which is a great way to quickly schedule and quickly build up your content. And another thing, since I'm on Pinterest right now, if you are first getting started and you don't know really what to write about, what to create boards on, the Pinterest search tool is an incredible content curating place to be. So for finding out what people are talking about when they're talking about social media, if I was trying to create one for Pinterest, I can see here that people are interested in social media quotes, social media marketing, tips, detox, addiction. There are some that are, I would not have necessarily expected detox and addiction on here, but that
need a Facebook detox, huh?
Yeah. Got Pinterest. Pinterest isn't gonna tell us to detox. But yeah, so that's just a really great way to learn what people are talking about when they're searching, or what they're searching for when they're talking about a certain keyword here. So that's a really incredible place to do keyword research, to do content research, to just learn more about what people are looking for.
Rachel's asking, when you're saving directly from Pinterest, does Tailwind put it in the next empty time slot or schedule it for later?
Such a great question. Yes, so it will do whatever it is you are asking it to do. So I will come back over here, save this one, and you have options. So if I wanted to save this to my work boards, actually let's just save it to one board. So if I wanted to just save it to this board, I could click on this Add to Queue Now, which would fill that next time slot. Or I could use Set Custom Time to pin it exactly when I want it to go out. So if I wanted it to go out at 6:34 p.m. today, I can do that. and schedule. And this is fun too. We'll suggest content based on what you just pinned.
Oh, cool.
Find new things, find new fun things. So then when I'm back over here, we see that same pin with a lock on it. That just means that when I shuffle my cue, that pin is not going anywhere. It's going to stay there. So that's two ways that you can do it. You can also do the interval pins. So I believe I showed that before, but it didn't go through. And that will create the locked post as well. So I'm not going to actually pin that to food boards, but then you have the option of using open time slots with interval pins. So that would put it about 1 day apart where there's an open time slot. Or you can create new time slots if you don't want to mess up your schedule, or you can say exact. So then it's going out at 10:33 every single day, no matter what. So there are a lot of options for adding content to Pinterest from there.
Perfect. I hope that answers your question, Rachel.
Yeah.
It was a great question because I didn't even think of it, and it would have been one of those things I'm like, wait, what about this? How do I know?
Right. Okay, so yep, we're going to leave, and I'm going to come over to Tribes, which is one of our newer products, but it's a really great way to find amazing content that your audience would be interested in. So our CEO first described it as making social media a team sport, and I just absolutely loved that definition.
Yeah.
Amazing, it's warm, it's fuzzy, and it's how we actually feel. You should be working together to grow together, be bigger, better, stronger with one another.
Agree.
So if we come over here to find a tribe, and this group is Beachbody, right? Beachbody.
We've got a ton of Beachbody girls. We've got some life coaches. We've got I mean, we can do like health and fitness coaches because I think that's the biggest lump of the people who will view this video, at least right now.
Okay.
But female entrepreneurs in general, like.
Love it. Okay. So then we'll go to health and fitness.
Perfect.
And let's say clean eating then. And these are the different tribes that are out there that you can join and become a part of. So this first one here, it's got a pretty high activity score. So you can see that people are submitting and sharing each other's content regularly. And it is a open one. You can join at any time. And then these requests to joins are ones where you have to submit a request. It's kind of like a Facebook group. You submit a request and then are approved by the moderator.
So these tribes, where are they? Where do they live? Are they in Facebook? Are they in Pinterest? Where?
They're in Tailwind.
Oh.
Yep. So this is a totally Tailwind-centric place. When you come in, it's pins that are added to tribes by other people. And so then you can come in and share it out to Pinterest, or you can use the Facebook button and share it to your Facebook page. It's just a great way to find content that's really relevant to what you're doing.
Okay. That's a bonus. That's so cool. That was something I hadn't discovered yet.
Yeah, it's really amazing. So it's almost like a mini super specific Pinterest within Tailwind.
I love that. And I love that, like, so a lot of people don't necessarily like think about Pinterest in this way, but Pinterest is like a search engine now.
Yes.
It's not just like your recipe file. It's a search engine. When you want to find something, whether it's the recipe, a juice thing, a podcast, a DIY thing, anything, let me check Pinterest, right? You don't, you say, I'm going to Google it, but you go to Pinterest and you're like, oh yeah, here's a recipe. Like, boom. Like, just like yesterday, one of my best friends, she's like, oh, I have to make a bunch of like snacks and goodies for like a funeral service. She goes, what's something easy in addition to, and she listed off a couple of things. I was like, maybe something like a whipped shortbread cookie, because people, like, if they're like me, it goes really good with coffee and they could dip it in their coffee. And she's like, that's perfect. Cookies in the morning. And, so she's like, okay, what's the recipe? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. So I just went to Pinterest. I'm like, let me Google it for you. And I went to Pinterest and sent her the recipe. So a lot of times, and that's why I think like a lot of people don't quite, I mean, obviously everybody who's here watching right now, they know that Pinterest is there to help grow their business and help them earn money. But a lot of people don't even realize that it's a useful tool in that way. They think it's just for finding recipes, and they don't think about it in the way that, oh my gosh, this is like the best search engine ever.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And anything fitness related is so huge on Pinterest. It's massive, because I like to think about Pinterest as a place where you go to learn about how you become your best self. Mm-hmm. And then after you become that amazing, beautiful self, you share those photos on Instagram and show off how great you are. So that it's the aspirational social media search engine. That's, yeah, so it's a lot of, it's the introverts network. It's a lot of thinking about what you want to be, who you want to be, and how to get there. And
Agree.
It's amazing for that.
Perfect. And now you have your own tribe right in Tailwind to access.
Yeah, you can find all that amazing content right in here. So in the tribe, when you're previewing it, you can read a little bit about it, what the different tags are, what the rules are. A lot of these will have rules like this. So for every one pin you add, please pin 2. So that just means when you submit a piece of your own content, please try and share out 2 other pieces of content.
Fair enough.
Get a preview of, get out of the chat there, a preview of the different pens that are available. And those look amazing.
It's making me hungry, this page.
I don't know how. Actually, these all look relatively healthy. Not too bad. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and join now then. Undefined. That's a fun error. Okay. Let's go back and try this again.
It's only giving you that error because we're on live.
Of course, yeah. So I'll just come into one that I'm already a part of. Okay, so this Welcome to Tribes one is a little bit of a mess, but there's a ton of content in here. It was the first tribe that we created to get people into tribes, and so it's a little bit of a free-for-all. There's 3,000 people in here. But we can see that looking at the stats for this tribe, there's been 11,000 reshares, and that just means people sharing out of the tribe. And once those pins are shared out of the tribe on Pinterest, they've received 35,000 repins.
Wow.
And so for me personally, the pins that I've added, I've received 48 reshares, which have generated 400 repins and had a potential reach of almost 4 million people.
Incredible.
Yeah, that's the power of tribes. And this is a interesting tribe. So this is all of the most recent content that I can see. If I wanted to share this sleigh here, I can just type in one of my boards. I'll add it to my Christmas board, add to queue, and that's a really quick and easy way to get content into your feed, especially if you're newer to Pinterest and you just need to start curating and getting your engagement up. Super amazing to join tribes and find content that your audience would be interested in. If it's something that you're not interested in, you can skip it. And it's not a big deal. No one has to know.
Apple jokes. That's new. I've never heard of that. Is random.
Yeah, this is a very random tribe. There are no rules. It is a free-for-all.
Love it.
So if I come over to the Yours tab, that's my content that I've added to the tribe. I can see that this pin here that I added to the tribe has been reshared 6 times. If I click in, I can see how many times it's been scheduled. So Tim scheduled it once. He scheduled it to a board with almost 2,400 followers, which is where the potential impressions come from. And that just gives me an idea of how that particular pin is performing from my fellow tribe mates. Now, if there's a tribe that you don't see yet, that you don't think has been created, you can create your own tribe. anyone can do this. It's a great way to invite people and get whatever you're interested in off the ground. So you can name it, give it a category, and then there's the visibilities. So we talked about public and request to join, and then there's a secret tribe. So for, I know some course leaders and different community leaders have created secret tribes for their members, and that's a great way to help support one another. And then you can add your own description, add your own rules, and a really great thing with this is it doesn't count against your tribe limit. And what that means is when you get started with tribes, you have five tribes you can join, really, 5 tribes you can join with 20 submissions per month. So you can be in 5 tribes owned by someone else and then have 30 tribes that you created on your own, and you're not going to have to upgrade for that. Finally, the insights will let you know what tribes are working for you. Get that loaded here. And so if you are trying to stay below the limit, this will give you a good idea of which ones are working and which ones aren't. Not every tribe is going to be perfect for everyone. So if there's one that isn't working for you, not a big deal. Just leave it and find another one that'll be better. So here I can see my results from each of my tribes. I've submitted 15 pins to this tribe, gotten 22 free shares, and reached 14,000 people. If I scroll down here, you can see the highlights. So this one, the most shared pins in my Craft Industry Alliance tribe are these. I can see who the top resharers are. And so then I can thank them through our chat system or go reshare their content. Just sort of help pay it forward for helping support me.
Perfect. Okay, so a few quick questions.
Yes, please.
The 20 or the 5 tribes, that's with the free membership, right? Do you get more when you have the upgraded?
Yes, that is with the free membership and with the plus plan. There are different levels of power-ups. I'll see if I can, it may not let me look at it in here, but there are different power-up levels. So I can't remember the exact amounts, but we have Pro, Max, and Unlimited.
Okay.
So different levels from there that you can add on as you need it, but you will always have access to 5 tribes and 20 submissions per month.
And is that, Rachel had a question, is that 20 submissions per tribe or 20 submissions spread over the 5 tribes?
Spread over the 5 tribes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Diane said, sorry I jumped in late, loving the info. So how does this program work and how long has it been around? So the program is basically, it's so you can schedule out your content in advance, and it helps you optimize the content and the hashtags and the destinations where it's going to be delivered. And I don't know how long it's been around.
We've been around for about 7 years. I've been working here for 6. So I've been around since almost the beginning and the longest standing employee. So it's been a pretty wild ride seeing this grow from 50 members to now we have more than 200,000. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, well, it looks incredible. So do you have any other questions, Diane, about kind of what it does? There's more detail if you go back and hop onto the beginning of the replay, which I'll post.
Yeah. So I will send that over after and get the replay going.
Liz has a question here. Will Tailwind ever have a photo editor option?
I would love to have one. We've talked to some other photo editing companies in the past, and actually if you email me, I may be able to turn something on for you. Wink, wink. That can allow you to do that within the app. So here in the, let me see, can I even access? Okay, I can't see where to type on here, but if you email me at Melissa, MELISSA, at Tailwind App, just like this right here, tailwindapp.com, then I can look into getting a little something turned on for you. So that will help with photo editing.
I will grab your email and the link to get your free trial of Tailwind real quick and post it in. I'll post it in the chat. And so if for those of you on live, you can just access it immediately, but I'll also post it in the events tab where you got the link to join here. And then I'll post it with the replay as well.
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah, it's been a wild ride with that, but yeah, we should have something that'll work for you.
Perfect.
Okay, so I'm gonna come over here to our newest product, so new it's not even live yet, called Smart Loop. It's, if you've used Pinterest in the past, there have been some other tools that would loop your content for you. There was one in particular this past summer, Board Booster, which a lot of people used. It got shut down because they were violating Pinterest terms of service, but a lot of people relied on that evergreen content. And we worked with Pinterest to come up with a solution that'll help people maintain consistency without breaking their terms of service. So by using this, you don't have to worry that we'll get shut down. Pinterest knows about this. Pinterest approved it. Pinterest helped us build it. So it's all good. And the goal of this is to make sure that your very best content is getting out there at regular intervals, so that you don't have to think about it. Oh, did I pin that amazing post from 2013 that so sends me traffic? We'll just do that for you. So here I have the different pins that I've added to my loops, but I'm going to go ahead and click on New Loop. There's the option to have a seasonal loop, so I'm creating a seasonal loop, which means that they are loops that have a start date and an end date. So this will be my Christmas loop. And I will add, again, this is where the board lists come in really handy. So I can just click on that board list there, and it adds all the boards. If I did year round, then they would just go out regularly. That's the other loop that I created. Or I can choose to post them between, for Christmas, I'll say, let's start September 1st, and then it will end December 25th. And so then I am not having to think about pinning my amazing Christmas things every single year. It'll just automatically do it for me.
That's awesome. And even like back to school. So like if you are a Beachbody or a health coach, a lot of you guys do like, you know, getting, you know, back to school stuff, packing kids lunch stuff, you know, kind of, you know, I like to call them kid tested, husband approved recipes, those types of things. And you could schedule those for every, you know, August, September, whenever your back to school season is. And that would just kind of auto do it. That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So you don't have to think about it. And this is also, I've talked to someone about using this for launches. So if you're launching a website or if you're launching a new product, you can set up a seasonal loop that will put out that sort of coming soon, build up that momentum to get people interested and to get people on your email list. So then once it's time to launch, you have a pre-built list of people that are super interested in what you're doing. It's awesome. And so here is where you add the content. Right now I have it filtered by most recent, but I could do it by my most popular content too. And so that will filter and look at the pins that I have with the most saves. So this one has 1,600 saves. This one has 1,200 saves. So not Christmas related, so they won't go in my Christmas one. So I'm just going to search for Christmas. Okay, and so then I have these great Christmas pins that I want to add. I'm just going to click. Okay. You can also sort from here by only showing the pins from your website, so you're making sure that you're driving traffic to your own website regularly, or you can filter by a board. So if you have a secret board that has a bunch of content on it, you can choose that here, and we'll load that in for you. So my schedule. And so here is where I say how often I want this pin to go out. I'm fine with it looping just one time per day. You can see it's that little green one there. These other two are my evergreen ones, and so that's my core content that's going out twice a day. And all content will be posted by December 25th. Content will be evenly distributed. Awesome, love it. And finish. So now I have those loops in my schedule, and the little green ones, these pink ones are my evergreen loops. And so it's a very similar setup process. I haven't had these up very long, so the performance is not looking great. So I'll switch over to Tailwind and show you what good stats look like. So we've published 4,000 pins, received 5,000 repins, and are averaging at least 1.2 repin for every one pin that we publish. And this is, again, it's not quite public yet, but if you're a Tailwind member and you come over here to the Smart Loop tab and enter in your information, you will get added pretty quickly. And if you don't, again, send me an email and I can get you into the beta, which means you'll get discounted pricing, half off of the power-ups for life if you get in before the beta ends.
Nice.
Okay, I'm gonna switch back over to Instagram real fast and quickly go through some analytics. So on the Instagram side, we have some profile analytics that will help you make sure that you're moving in the right direction with your Instagram account. So you can see here in the past 7 days, I've gained 8 followers. I can drag this out and see what my very bumpy path to today through the last 30 days. So if you hover over, you can see when the peaks were. So October 21st was a great day for me, but then I did something the next day that people didn't like apparently. And you can sort of keep track if there's something that you posted or a story that you did. This sort of helps you look at how your follower growth is going and how it's trending over time. Same thing with posts. Obviously, I haven't been posting to my feed very often. I'm more of a story girl lately. Then we have comments, how the comments have grown, how many comments you're receiving, and finally likes. So here I posted something on my actual feed, and it's just been growing since then. And then below here, we have some dials that can be a little bit confusing at first, but it's just showing how your content is performing.
Okay.
So the first one, the reaction score, is the number of engagements. So that's comments and likes per post. So for the past 30 days, I'm averaging 14 comments and likes per post.
Okay.
That's a new 30-day high for me. That's amazing. I want to keep that dial fully loaded. I want to keep that thing green. However, on my engagement score, which is looking at the engagements per post per follower, it's a little bit lower. So this may tell me that my actual followers are not as engaged. It could be that I'm using different hashtags and finding people outside my following that are more interested, or that I'm not reaching my followers and maybe I need to adjust my strategy since I am not hitting that 30-day high. Engagement rates, super easy. It's just the percentage of your posts with any engagement. So this does not mean that every single one of my posts on Instagram has gotten at least one like or comment. I have plenty that have neither, but the ones that have more, at least 14, are going to make up for the ones that have none. So that's what that means. If you look at that and you say, hey, I don't have 100% of my posts with comments, that's all it means.
Okay. Diane has another question. I think I know the answer to this. Will it also track who purchased your product?
It will on the Instagram side, on the Pinterest side. If you have Google Analytics synced, it will. And I can show that in just a minute.
Okay. And does it matter like where you're selling your product from? So if you're, Beachbody or some other MLM, does it kind of go that way through Google Analytics, or is there like a pixel type of thing, or?
I'm honestly not sure. I don't know much about the integrations there, if there are any integrations with Google Analytics, but if there are, then you should be able to track it.
Okay.
Through that. And yeah, because our Google Analytics integration just looks at your traffic source as Pinterest and then shows you the visitors, the page views, the revenue, things like that from there.
Okay. So depending on where you host your checkout, if it's through an MLM, they would almost have to report that data, right? Because
Probably.
you guys they would have to give you permission to access their cart ultimately, yeah?
Right, yeah. And we haven't built anything for specific carts.
Okay.
E-commerce is something we're really interested in. So if you have ideas for that, we would love to hear them.
Okay.
And yeah, a lot of what we build is based off of, you know, folks like you coming to us and saying, this is going to solve my issue. Can you please build it? And then we build it.
Yeah, well, good to know, because I always have all kinds of issues.
Yeah. Yeah, so any ideas that you have, don't hesitate to send them over. We really do read them, and we really do consider them and track them. And then our roadmap is literally built off of your words.
Okay, very good. Hopefully that gives you some sort of answer to hand.
Yeah, on the Instagram side, it's a lot harder. They're not as forthcoming with their linked information as
yeah, because they don't really have a pixel, right? Unless you're doing an ad, right?
No, and I will tell you, if you have a link in your bio and you're tracking it through Google Analytics, that traffic is going to come through as direct traffic, so it's impossible to track.
Okay.
You need to make sure you have a UTM on it, or you're using like a bit.ly link or just something to track that traffic if you're interested in seeing how it's converting.
Okay, perfect.
It's kind of odd thing.
Yeah.
So here we're in the post inspector, and this is just looking at my posts on Instagram. So it's sorted by likes. This is my most popular post. People like that I go vote. I can see how many likes it has, how many comments it has. If I wanted to reschedule it, I could do that from here. My favorite thing personally in this tool is the search component. So if you're doing an ad, or if you typed in hashtag Beachbody, you can see all the ones with that hashtag. For me, we can look at hashtag Duke of IG, and it's all pictures of my cat. So you can search for any kind of hashtag. You can search for different sayings. So let's see, if we do John _Axtell, we can see my photos with my boyfriend here. So It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a hashtag. It doesn't have to be someone's name. It can be anything.
Awesome.
Go over to Pinterest, and I'll try to whiz through some of my favorite analytics tools on that. I know we're getting close to running out of time here. Okay, and the pin inspector is very similar on the Pinterest side. So showing my most reshared pins here. I can reschedule it. I can add it to a tribe. So when you're adding to tribes, it will just pop up. You can hover over to see the rules, so you make sure you're not going against any rules. And that's just a quick way to get content in there. Same with Smart Loop. You can add your most popular content to your Smart Loop, so you make sure it's going out regularly. Okay. And then if we come over to Board Insights, this is my very favorite tool that we have. A lot of questions that we get are around, how do I know if my boards are performing? I'm in so many group boards, they're driving me crazy. I don't want to keep up with them. This is going to tell you which ones are worth sticking with. So here we can see, I'm going to turn off my secret boards and my regular boards. My engagement score is telling me that my followers are engaged with this content because I'm getting 24 repins per pin per follower. Awesome. This particular board is for a friend's wedding who is actually not even married to this guy anymore. It's super old. It's not relevant, but this is not going to tell me that. I like to look at them from repins in the last 7 days. This is telling me that the dog lovers board is still super exciting. People are super interested. This is not my repins within the group, but the pins in the group are, within the past week, got almost 3,000 repins. That's awesome. that's a board that I need to stick with. But if I do the opposite way, we see that wedding one again. That's one that, maybe I should leave.
Yeah. What about, Rachel's asking, what would be typically a good engagement score?
You guys are going to hate this answer, but it depends. It's something that you need to benchmark against yourself. There isn't really one answer that's perfect for everyone. So as long as you're shooting for beating yourself, as long as you're benchmarking and moving forward, that's most important. But you don't have to have a 24 engagement score. I think on Tailwinds we have some that are like 200, and then some of our really great boards will have like a 7. So it kind of depends. It depends on what you find important to your company and what it is that you're really trying to invest in.
And so what makes up that engagement score then? Is it repins, comments, posts, likes, all of that stuff, or?
It is just repins.
Okay.
So the engagement score is repins per pin per follower. So it's trying to look at how engaged your followers are with the content that you're sharing. So at the time, back in like 2012, this was a very popular board. We were adding lots of content to it. We were getting lots of repins, sharing each other's pins, but now less so. Same thing with the virality score. Virality score is more looking at how your content's performing over all of Pinterest. So how you're getting discovered in search feeds or in the smart feed, or however it is that people are coming across your content and sharing it. That's more what this score is telling you. So it's the repins per pins over all of Pinterest.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, and the last thing that I'll show you guys is the website analytics. So similar to what was being asked earlier, this is just going to show you, rather than I don't have Google Analytics synced. That would be here. I really need to figure out how to get that in there. But it's not, I promise it's there, and you can see the revenue and everything in there. But this is just looking at the website that I have connected to my account on Pinterest. So that is our Tailwind blog. In the last week, we've had 1,000 pins created from the blog by 946 pinners, averaging 135 people pinning per day. And then our potential impressions are 8.5 million, averaging 1.2 million per day. And we're calculating that in the same way that we did for the tribes. So that's the number of pins times the followers on the board is what that means there. Over here with the trending images, this is super interesting because it's showing you which pins are driving traffic for you for the past 7 days. So this one here, how to create Pinterest product images, has been posted within the past week. But this one, how to write Instagram captions that sell, is about 6 months old, and yet it's still driving huge traffic for us. So there's some really fun insights that you can see here. And, maybe this tells me that we need to be writing about Instagram captions more because people are super interested in it.
Right.
Or adding this to my smart loop so I make sure that I'm continually driving that traffic to it. Creating new claims. There's a lot that can be gleaned just from this report. Okay, I have gone over a little bit, so I apologize for keeping you guys longer, but are there any other questions that I can answer?
I don't actually have any, but let's give them just a second to pop any in that they might have. This has been so informative. So obviously, in the chat, I put the link to join, and you can sign up with the free version to start. So there's no obligation to do really anything that you're not comfortable with, and give it a try. See if it works for you. As you start to grow your stuff and start to really get into this stuff, what's that first level as far as investment goes for, going from the free to that first level?
So for the Plus plan, if you just want to pay by the month, if you're not fully comfortable, that's what I would suggest, is going with our monthly plan, which is $15 per month. Okay. And if you decide that you love it after the first month or the second month, say you're in the second month and you say, all right, I'm in this for the long haul. I want to sign up for the annual plan. We will prorate that $30 towards your annual account. So instead of paying $120 for the year, you would pay $90 for the year.
Okay. Well, that's quite a savings too to pay annually anyways.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it
And
comes
then,
out to about $10 a month.
yeah, and so then the cool thing too, you guys, is that you can, get your own little link when you get your account, and you can refer your team, you can refer your downline, and you get, oh yeah, what you just had popped up, and you can get a credit and Amazon gift cards, because we all shop at Amazon, let's be real. So you can get credits towards covering some of the cost of your upgrades, I guess, if you will, or your power ups, and also gift cards. So you can do whatever you want with those gift cards. You can use them as incentives in your business. You can use them to buy stuff because we shop there. You can use them to gift as, hey, happy birthday, here's $25, So that's kind of a cool thing. So you can get started for free. And Diane, you can get started for free. There's always the free option. And the first level to upgrade is either $15 a month or $120 a year. Is there support?
You can see here, like, granted, I work for the company, but just by sharing my link, I have $1,500 in Tailwind credit. So even if I did have to pay for Tailwind, I would have it for a very, very long time.
Perfect. Yeah, that's how it is with a couple of other programs. So Diane and Liz both had a question about like ongoing support, education, and like customer service.
Yes. So if you have questions, I will say our poor CS team, customer success team, have been totally overwhelmed. We've grown a lot in the past 6 months or so in terms of user base, but we haven't been hiring as quickly to keep up with the number of queries. So it takes a few days to get back to you, but you will get a real response from a real person in a few days, and they're all amazing. They really care. And to do that, you can click down here on the little question mark, and then you can either type in anything. So if I wanted to learn about Smart Loop, oh, we don't, right, that's not live yet. Okay. How about tribes? If I wanted to learn about tribes, I can just type that in and click on these different articles about it. And if that doesn't work, still stuck, you can send a message right within the app, and we'll get back to you just as soon as we can.
And then I saw there too, there was like video tutorials and like join a webinar.
Yeah, so underneath this question mark, we have the Tailwind video guides. These are amazing. These are so good.
So it's like the built-in YouTube.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Mastering Tailwind for Pinterest, Instagram, tribes, and we got the smart schedule. We have all kinds of videos here, and we'll be adding more as we build up our product base.
Awesome, awesome. And then do you guys offer like ongoing like webinar training tutorials, much like this one, but just like ongoing so that they could just hop in whenever?
Yeah, we do. So twice a month, we do trainings on Pinterest and on Instagram. Over on our Facebook, my coworker Elisa talks to different experts in the field about the topics, and it's a really great place to learn. We've even had people from Pinterest on before, and often get some scoops before other companies, since we are partners with the tools, which allows us to learn more before other people.
Perfect, perfect. All right, any more questions, ladies? We're gonna wrap up. I think it's dinner time kind of nationwide right now, and if it's not dinner time, I think most people are itching to turn on the World Series. I don't even know if there's a game tonight, to be totally honest.
I'm woefully behind on anything sports related. So.
Perfect, perfect. All right, everybody. Well, if there are no further questions, thank you guys all for taking the time to hop in here to learn about this amazing, amazing tool. I basically like to think about all things automation, kind of like your first virtual assistant. So for free, or $15 a month, $10 to $15 a month, whatever that looks like for you, you can basically get your first virtual assistant, save yourself a boatload of time, money, heartache, time away from your kids, sitting, or family when you're trying to schedule out, or, not even schedule out, but remembering to post all day long and throughout the day. So give these guys a try. I will, again, post in the groups and in the events where you can get signed up for this for free, and also how you can get a hold of Melissa so she can open up that beta program for you, and also the picture thing.
Yeah. But don't tell anyone.
Shh. But thank you so much, Melissa. Thank you for agreeing to do this for us. I don't know, I just love bringing new things that people don't know about to light, especially when they're so freaking useful and helpful and streamlined and affordable.
That's awesome. Well, I'm so glad you enjoyed it, and seriously, happy to answer questions. So
awesome.
Get my way.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Thanks, everybody.
All right.
All righty. Bye.